Hi there, my name is David DeLuna, and thank you very much for coming into my kitchen. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to make my salsa. Now, before I get started, what I'd like to do is kind of take you back to a memory. I want you to think of the one time when you were at a Mexican restaurant, or where they were serving Mexican or Salvadoran or South American food, and you tasted that salsa, and it was absolutely terrific. I want you to remember that. Can you remember that time when that happened? Because I know I can remember a time when it happened to me. Definitely. Well, think about that for just a moment, because I'm going to show you today how to make that salsa. Okay? I remember a time when I was at a Mexican restaurant in Concord, I think it was, and I was at the restaurant and they served the salsa, and I remember tasting it and thinking, this is absolutely terrific salsa. So I want to relive those memories for you, and I want to show you how you can recreate that memory for yourself. And my own experience is actually that, well, and it isn't just that I've gone to a lot of Mexican restaurants and tasted a lot of salsa. Actually, as it turns out, way back in the mid-'80s, I actually owned a Mexican restaurant, and I had to make salsa. And in fact, that's where I actually learned how to make the salsa that I'm going to show you today. But back then, I had to make it in a 5-gallon bucket because we had a busy restaurant. So it actually took me many, many years after that to learn how to kind of size it down to get into smaller quantities. And I finally got it perfected just some years back, and so this is how I make it, since I'm not serving a lot of people in a restaurant. So I do have a little bit of credibility in that I've made this professionally and actually had sold it. So the most important thing I think that we want to keep in mind is you want to use fresh ingredients, and I'm going to walk you through some of the ingredients that we're going to be using. First, you're going to be using half an onion, a yellow onion, also fresh cilantro, which I've already pre-cut. It's about half a bunch that we're going to be using. And these are the serrano peppers. This is the key to making great salsa. Serrano peppers you can get in your produce department. Also, these tomatoes just like these, and you can also use Roma tomatoes as well. And we're going to be using 2 bunches of green onions, and I've already sliced them. Also, we're going to be using salt and granulated garlic. And that's it. It's very, very simple. These are all the ingredients you're going to be needing to make great salsa. So we're going to go ahead and get started now. Okay, first, I've already pre-cut most of the tomatoes, but I wanted to also sort of show off my little chopper. I actually found this in a home show, and you know those guys where you walk by the home show, they got that little mic and they're demonstrating and they're trying to get everybody to come in and watch them so they can sell these little contraptions? Well, I fell for it. However, this contraption is probably the best thing I ever had, including all those $100 food processors. So here's what I usually do. I just quarter this tomato. I just hold it over there like this, and I quarter it. I usually can't get more than about 2 tomatoes in there. As you can see, it's already full. Okay? And the other 3 are already in there. Put the top on this like this, and I just give it a good wind. First I back up just a little bit, kind of get started, and then I wind it up. I don't want to totally liquefy it. I do want to leave it kind of chunky, as you can tell already what's in there. See? And this is what we get. Dump it in there. And this is my 5 tomatoes right here. You notice it's kind of chunky, and that's how you want to leave it. Now this is my half of an onion. And then we'll add the cilantro. This is half of a bunch of cilantro. And here's my 2 bunches of green onions. Looks like my bowl's barely going to make it to hold everything. Okay. Also, we're going to need a, oops, sorry about that, I need a spoon. Here we go. So now we start stirring a little bit. And I usually want to get this stirred before I put the chilies in there. Okay? fold it over just a little bit. Then I'm going to start adding all my ingredients for the seasonings. 1.5 tablespoons of granulated garlic. There's one, and there's about a half. If you put in 2, so much the better. I always say there can't be too much garlic, no such a thing. And about half of a tablespoon of salt. There we go. That's it for the seasonings. Now, I would say you're going to start with 20 of these serrano peppers. You're going to blanch them. Then you're going to puree them in a food processor, and this is what they'll look like when they come out. And the reason I start with 20 is actually because if you put in fewer than 20, it's kind of difficult to get the food processor going. And so, and I'll tell you a little bit in a moment just about what I do with the extras. But I'll start with maybe 1 heaping spoon of this serrano peppers, the paste. Hopefully I haven't forgotten anything else. Looks like we're all done with the ingredients. So now we're going to mix this up. Starting to smell really great. And you'll notice that it looks kind of thick and not very liquidy, but I don't want you to worry about that at all. Don't give that a thought. I don't want you to like put any kind of liquid or water in it, because as you stir it, it starts to liquefy. It starts to create liquid. Some of the veggies start to break down, and it's not so much like pico de gallo or something. Now I wish you guys could smell what I'm smelling right now. Got to stir it really, really well to make sure that you get all the ingredients. And by the way, one of the reasons why I like the blanched serranos pureed, just for the consistency of the taste. I really don't like biting down on a piece of chili and getting that, it's kind of like an uneven taste when you have that. Because you'll get some salsa that's, a mouthful of salsa that's okay, and then another mouthful of salsa that's like way, way, way too hot. Okay, looks like we're all done. Now, okay, the salsa's complete. And again, I want to review what we've talked about here. The important thing is to use fresh ingredients. The fresh serranos, fresh tomatoes, green onions, as fresh as you can get them, and of course the yellow onion. That's really the key to making great salsa. Now, think about that memory again. Well, this is how you can recreate that memory of the great tasting salsa that you've had at a restaurant. Now, of course, the most important thing is, I'd like my audience to go ahead and dig in. And thank you very, very much for watching my demonstration of how to make salsa. Go ahead, everybody, dig in.